How we doing, guys? Welcome to Friday. It's the weekend. It's actually been a really quick week. Don't know why, but it just has. I'm not complaining. Bit colder today actually. It's been a wee bit kind of overcast the last few days up here in Scotland. So yeah. Anyway, guys, this is the Friday Waffle. Welcome, one and all. I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. Pardon me. Firstly, what have I been up to this week from a gaming viewpoint? I think I mentioned I've pre-ordered The Last of Us on the PS4. It's not arrived yet, although I see Monkey Spaz 5000 got his, so hopefully mine should arrive. In fact, it didn't arrive today because I've just had my post. So yeah, I've got that to look forward to. Not been playing any. I've not been playing an awful lot. Still been hammering the Mamemeister. Absolutely love it. Been playing a lot of that. Not playing much Robotron. Not been playing much Berserk, but I'm going to be making a I want to be a video game champ video after this one. So yeah, from a gaming viewpoint, I haven't been playing too much. I had a couple of mates up last night. One of them has actually just finished building his own Mamemeister. He bought one of these kind of pre-cut kind of kit forum things off eBay. I think it's about 60-70 quid. He's just finished building it. He did say it's been a bit of a nightmare. He says it's not the kind of thing that he would ever do for money. It's got to be a labour of love. And he's got a few problems with some of the buttons, but it looks really nice. I've not seen it in the flesh. I've seen pictures of it. It looks pretty much similar to my one, although my one's a bit kind of taller. So yeah, a couple of mates were up last night. They had never seen my Mamemeister before, and we were just playing a bit of Robotron, bit of Year Kung Fu, playing some of the other systems, and they both were really impressed with it. So yeah, that's been the only gaming I've been actually playing this week. Other news, what have we been doing? I got it's a kind of pick-up video. There he be, I'm getting too old for bending down. One of my very kind mates, we're always helping each other out with different bits and pieces, and he actually very kindly sent me a parcel. I had no idea what it was, and in said parcel is this. It's a rubber keyed Spectrum, and he's kind of made little shelves for it, so that what I can do is I can actually stick them on the wall and mount them. So it's actually a really nice. It's excellent. The actual quality of it. I mean this. I mean I've got quite a few rubber Spectrums, but the actual quality of this looks really good. It's not scratched at all. Other ones I've got are all scratched. So thanks very much to Mick for that. Seems too good to waste to put on the wall, but like I said, I have already got a few of these, so fantastic. So I've got that. Another one is this bad boy, the ZX81. Fantastic. I've not got a ZX81. Again, it seems a shame to put it on a wall, but again, what Mick's done is he's come up with this. I'm just thinking that would actually be better slightly further down. So yep, that's going to look quite nice sitting on my wall. That was very unexpected. So a huge thanks to Mick for sending me these. What else? I will show you my beta. I did forget to what do you call it? But I'll show you right now actually, in a little second. I'll just pause the video. That's my latest one. Donkey Kong. Now you can probably see there, he stands quite high. I mean, there's my exploding fist. This guy's hand actually fell off the other day there, so what I had to do was actually re-iron it. So he's now been ironed on both sides, so, and he's also a lot flatter, so he kind of sticks better to the wall. But yeah, quite happy with that. My Donkey Kong looks quite nice. There we go. Right, back in a sec. Okay, back again. Yeah, so that's been what I've been up to this week. I mean, I was at the Commonwealth Games last week. I was up there on Tuesday. Had a good time. But not been up to very much on a gaming side of things. So yeah, that's that, guys. Right, I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. One which has been touched on by quite a few YouTubers is, do last and current generation consoles have a second-hand lifespan? Now, what they're basically saying there is, given that current consoles, and probably more so current consoles, and even, you know, 360 and PS3, you download games, you download them digitally, and with the Xbox 360, I don't know if it's still the case, if you download a game onto Xbox Live, if you don't actually have a current internet connection, it actually downgrades the game to sort of like a trial. So if you buy, say, Doom for example, and you don't have an internet connection, it downgrades it to a sort of trial version. So what is going to happen in not even 10 years time, probably a couple of years time, when the servers to all these different systems is shut off? Does that mean that these games will be null and void? I mean, there's obviously a big thing now. People are pushing for digital downloads rather than going into a shop and buying an actual disc. Now that's all good. That's all good and fine, but you tend to find that the price of games to download is actually more expensive than it costs if you're going to a shop and buying it. Now, to me, that just seems absolutely nonsense. It's a bit like electronic books on a Kindle can sometimes be more expensive than a hard copy, which to me just seems crazy, because they're not using any materials to print the thing. So why should it be more expensive? I don't know. But anyway, I'm diversing slightly. Yeah, I mean, the perfect example is the Wii. Nintendo have, in my opinion, rather foolishly decided to switch off the servers for their Wii, which basically means you can't access any online stuff anymore. So even commercially available games like Mario Kart 7, you can no longer play online now. I've not personally tried it, guys, so please don't flame me if I'm talking out a hole in my arse. I'm basically going by what I've read on the internet and other people have been talking about. But yeah, what I gather is Nintendo have rather prematurely terminated their online services to the Wii, which means that all online stuff is no more. So somebody could go to Game and buy a copy of Mario Kart 7 Wii, thinking I'll play it online. They get home and they discover that you can no longer do it. So yeah, things like, you know, downloading digitally, is that going to mean that, you know, in 20 years time that these machines, the games will not run? I mean, fair enough, if you download a game and it's on the hard disk, then it should work okay. But a lot of these games, they do rely on sort of like you having an internet connection, online stuff. So it does mean that, you know, eventually when these servers are closed down, then you won't be able to play these games. So in effect, it could be that, you know, there won't be a second-hand market for these machines other than for nostalgic purposes. You know, I mean, I've got obviously all the old systems. I've got your Vectrex or SNES. You know, it doesn't matter how old these things are, as long as the capacitors and the transistors and whatever it is, the microchips hold together, then you'll always be able to play games, because obviously it's a tangible product. You've got a cartridge, you've got a disc, you've got a CD. But any system that uses a sort of a digital download media type, then in effect it could be that these, you will no longer be able to use them, and you know, once they eventually switch the servers off. So yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about, actually. So we'll just have to play it beer. But yeah, anyway, that's that. That was just a touch on. I think it was somebody else mentioned it, I can't remember. I saw a YouTube video, somebody was talking about that, so that's quite an interesting one. The topic I want to talk about today, it's a bit of kind of rose-coloured spectacles, is gaming TV shows. Now, I remember way back in the mists of time when it was shit like Multicoloured Swap Shop and Saturday Superstore. These were for anyone under the age of 30. Back in the 80s, guys, there was no such thing as Sky TV. We had, you know, we had 4 channels. I mean, Channel 4, I don't know when Channel 4 first kicked in, mid-1980s I think it was. We had 4 TV channels. There was no such thing as Sky One and all these millions Discovery channels. They just simply didn't exist. We had 4 TV channels. The TV didn't start until about 9 o'clock in the morning. Yep, so if you got up at 2 o'clock in the morning, you couldn't sleep, put the TV on, what you basically got was a test card, which is basically a static picture with music, and that was it. There was no TV 24 hours, 24/7 like you get now. As hard as that is to believe, that was the case. We had 4 channels. I mean, it was 3 channels up until you had BBC One, you had your, in my case it was STV, Scottish Television, you had your local channel, you had BBC 2, BBC One, BBC 2, and you had your independent channel. That was it. Then in the 1980s, I think it might have been 1980 actually, Channel 4 opened up, so you had 4 channels. So that was it, guys. You had 4 TV channels. It says come about midnight, the TV channel actually went to bed. It closed down, and what you used to get was the national anthem. Believe it or not, you would see the flag, you know, the United Kingdom flag, and they played the national anthem, and then the guy would say to you, and that's all from us at BBC TV today. Please have a very safe evening, a very good night, and please sleep safely, and we'll see you in the morning. They actually bid you a good night and told you to have a good night. And then they'd play the national anthem, and then you'd get music for a short time, and then it would just go to static white noise, and that was basically how it worked. Anyway, I'm completely going off the topic here. So yeah, we had 4 channels. You know, one of the biggest things, I mean, TV channels nowadays, kids are spoiled. They've got their bloody Nick Jr. You've got I don't know 20 channels dedicated to cartoons. You've got cartoons 24/7. Now, when you were a kid in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, we had, I says, with the 4 channels, you had a couple hours in the evening. You had TV programmes for kids. That was it. From maybe about 3 o'clock, 3:30, you got shite like Blue Peter, not Blue Peter, but yeah, you had Blue Peter, you had like Play School, you had multiple things like that. You had Blue Peter, then you had a wee 5-minute cartoon, The Magic Roundabout, and that was it. There was no such thing as 24/7 cartoons. So, you know, you did look forward to watching these things. Now, the highlight as a 70s and 80s child was the Saturday morning TV for kids. This was basically a programme that started about 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and it would go into about 12 o'clock, 12:30. BBC One, what did they have? They started with the multicoloured Swap Shop, which had John Craven, yep, that guy with grey hair. Well, didn't have grey hair back then. It was hosted by Noel Edmonds, that obnoxious twat who does whatever the hell it is, Deal or No Deal or some bloody thing. He was the host of that. There was, I can't remember who else. There was Keith Chegwin. I don't know if anyone remembers Keith Chegwin. He was on it as well. And basically it was just like, it was, kids would take along stuff, they would swap them and, you know, swap stuff. You would get cartoons, you would get the local, not the local, you'd get the current hip boy band of the day. I couldn't even tell you who the hell they were back then, who would appear in the programme, and kids would go along and sit in the audience. That was for the boring people. The boring people watched Multicoloured Swap Shop. On STV they had a thing called Tiswas. It was absolutely brilliant. It was like, if you can remember the Young Ones TV programme, it was like the Young Ones for kids. It had Chris Tarrant, yep, the old bloke who does I Want to Be a Millionaire. He was the host, with the lovely Sally James. Sally James, yep. Anyone that watched that would remember Sally James. She always wore loose-fitting vests. Yes. So Sally James, and it was just, and also Lenny Henry. Yep, that bloke who does the bloke that does comic relief. He started on Tiswas. There was numerous other people. There was a guy who had Spit the dog. It was basically like a false hand. He had this dog, a puppet, and it used to spit. That was basically his whole act. The dog would spit. So yeah. And basically Tiswas, they used to have a cage where they would put people in and they'd throw buckets of water, they would throw slime over them. It was just pandemonium, it was mayhem. It was so funny. I mean, I loved Tiswas. Anybody that grew up in the 80s loved Tiswas. Google it, or not Google it, go into YouTube and type in Tiswas, you'll see what I'm talking about. It was absolutely excellent. And then there was various other ones after after Multicoloured Swap Shop. They had Saturday Superstore, which was hosted by Mike Reid, who was famous for banning Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood on Radio 1 because it had crude lyrics, and it then went on to become a multi-million selling single just because he banned it. He personally thought it was rude and offensive, and so he took a decision to not to play it on Radio 1. So yeah, that was it. There was various other Saturday kind of programmes, but my point is, where am I talking about? Gaming TV shows. Back then, the very early ones, they're sort of swap shops. Home computers weren't about, but what they did was, kids would have a competition to play a computer game, pardon me, and basically kids would phone up and it'd be like, I don't know, a maze game or something. You'd have like a 2-player game, something really basic. They probably used an Atari VCS. I can't remember the games they actually used, but basically they would take it in turns to either like get out of a maze, or else they'd have to fight each other. And the way they controlled it was voice activated. Now I remember seeing this at the time and thinking this was amazing. The kid on the phone would say up, and he'd go up, left, right, down, up, and they'd control this thing, and they'd say fire, and it would fire. They'd basically control this thing using your voice, and I always wondered, how the hell did they do that? Not realising, of course, there was somebody behind the camera with a joystick controlling the game, and obviously trying to react to the kid saying what direction. I mean, sometimes they would say up, and they would move down, you know. So I thought that was amazing, but it was utter shite. But that's what it was back then. It was voice activated, and obviously somebody was behind the camera controlling the joystick, trying to emulate or try to replicate the directions that the kid on the phone was giving. So yeah, so that was the very first time I actually saw computer games on TV, with the voice controlled stuff. Later on in the sort of mid-80s, there was a programme which I thought was only in Scotland, but it was actually broadcast in the UK. It was called First Class, and it was hosted by the lovely Debbie Greenwood. Yes, not so pretty now, right enough, but she was a bit of a babe when you're a testosterone ladled 16-year-old. Debbie Greenwood was very easy on the eyes. Oh yes. And basically what it was 2 classes, hence the name First Class, from schools would compete in a quiz programme. But what set it apart from other quiz programmes was they used to have a 1 round, what started off, it was track and field. It wasn't track and field, it was hypersports. The vault on track and field, and shut up, it was the vault, or the horse, whatever you want to call it, on hypersports. 2 kids, the 1 kid would be nominated from each class, each team, and would take it in turns to have 3 goes to try and do the vault. And 9 times out of 10 they were utter garbage at it. I mean, that's quite a hard event as well. Anyway, that's a hard event to pick. So yeah, they had they had hypersports, the vault, and then later on, I think it was 720. They would have to do one of the sort of ramps, one of the courses in 720. So yeah, that was quite interesting. Again, that was the only time that I was aware of that computer games ever really appeared on TV until later on. Obviously, the main one, guys, which everybody remembers, is Mamemeister. Now, I've got all the Mamemeister. I think there was 7. I'm not going to call I don't like this word seasons. Seasons is an American term. It was a series back in the UK. There was 7 series of Mamemeister, and you know, in case there's anybody here that's never seen it, which I don't believe is going to be the case, but anyway, Mamemeister was effectively, it was a chap called Dominic Diamond. He's a Scotcher. Dominic comes from Arbroath in Scotland. He now lives in Canada. He's actually on my Facebook, and it's quite funny because I've had a lot of dealings with Dominic. He was training for a marathon, and I was giving him tips I even emailed him a training programme. So it's quite bizarre because on my Facebook I'll make a post about something and it'll have Dominic Diamond likes. It's quite bizarre having somebody who was like a bit of a hero of mine back in the day, having him commenting on posts that I make on Facebook. Anyway, I'm going off topic a wee bit. Games Master was basically a series of challenges. You would have 3 challenges, 2 challenges whereby it was a member of the public taking on another member of the public, or in fact I'm talking shite. They would come down and they would have to complete a particular level, and they'd have to complete it in a certain amount of time. If they did it, they would get what was called the golden joystick. It was basically, I think it was a Quick Shot 2 that had been painted gold, and it was mounted in this plastic case thing. I actually saw one went on eBay recently for 250 quid. So yeah, they don't really crop up very often. So yeah, Games Master, it was a series of challenges, and then the third challenge was always a celebrity would take part. There was numerous celebrities took part. It was quite funny, but I've been watching it since then. I says it was hosted by Dominic Diamond. I've been watching them back, and they're just, they're very much a product of its time, but they're so funny. And when you listen to the stuff that Dominic Diamond got away with, I mean, his innuendos were just, you know, back as I mean, I wasn't a kid, I would be in my 20s at the time, so I remember at the time thinking this is quite risky for a, you know, sort of tea time TV. But a lot of kids, it would go right over their head. He used to come up with things like, you know, I don't know, boys waggling their joysticks in their bedroom and things like that. You need to watch it. I mean, it's just, the stuff that he got away with is incredible. I actually listened to a podcast that he made a couple of years ago for a podcast thing, and he basically said was that Channel 4 let them get away with murder. Nobody from Channel 4 ever watched a Games Master episode. If they had, they would have probably get that off the air now, because the stuff that they were coming away with was just incredible. I mean, as each episode, not each episode, as each series, as it got further and further into more and more sort of series, the jokes and the humour was getting more and more dirty. I mean, it was, some of the stuff was just incredible. So yeah, apparently they basically had a free rein to do exactly what they wanted, and what basically Dominic Diamond said was it was just an outlet for them to have a laugh, because nobody gave a shit about what was on. All Channel 4 knew was the ratings were going through the roof, and they were happy. They weren't really interested in what was actually getting put into the episode, but the viewer ratings were going through the roof, so Channel 4 were quite happy. Dominic Diamond presented the first and second series. Then in the third, it was sponsored by McDonald's, and Dominic apparently he avoids, for ethical reasons, he avoids McDonald's. And when he found out that McDonald's were going to be the sponsor, he basically told Channel 4, you either drop McDonald's or I'm out. And they decided that they were going to keep McDonald's in. So Dominic Diamond resigned, and they brought in a chap, Dexter Fletcher, who was in, what was it called, Two Smoking Barrels, what the hell's it called again? That one with Vinnie Jones, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. He was in that. He's actually quite a good actor, and he actually recently produced Sunshine and Leith, so there you go. But Dexter Fletcher, he was brought in. He was basically in a hiding to nothing, because Dominic Diamond, he was the man. Everybody loved Dominic Diamond. I mean, Dominic could come across as a right obnoxious twat, but he didn't give a shit, and he was funny. I mean, he used to get on, like, in later episodes, or later series, he actually had these dance machines, and he brought in Page 3 girls to take part. And I don't have to tell you exactly what was happening. You know, these rather busty birds dancing in Dance Dance Revolution machines, all in the name of competition for Games Master. But you know, what he said was they were using that as an excuse. Who did they fancy? They were basically thinking, who do we fancy? Let's get them onto Games Master. I mean, it's quite funny when you look back at them now. It's like a snapshot of the celebrities of the 90s. You know, I mean, take that, we're on it. The Gladiators, anybody that remembers the Gladiators, all these, they all appeared in it at some point. It's quite interesting to see. A lot of them, most of the people that were on it, I mean, there was people from Neighbours and all that, and you know, it's like, who? Yeah, 99% of the people that were on Mamemeister, you never ever hear their careers are finished, washed up. So yeah, Dexter Fletcher came in for Series 3, and it was like car crash TV. He was trying to be the, yo, right mate, yeah, Jack the Red, London and all that, you know, Royman slang. He was trying to be this real kind of cool London dude, and it just didn't work. You could tell that he wasn't interested in the games side of things, and it was without a doubt the worst series by far. I mean, every other series was really good, but it was awful. It was bloody awful, and it's no offence to Dexter Fletcher, but he was, you know, he was brought in because Dominic Diamond, who everybody loved, I mean, it was the Dominic Diamond show. He was brought in to try and take over, and he was never going to do it. He was never ever going to do it. So Series 3 came and went, and lo and behold, Series 4, Dominic Diamond returned, and he went on to do 7 series in total. And as they go on and on and on and on and on, it's as I say, the jokes, the adult humour. You know, I don't know how he got away with it. I'm not even going to try and tell you any of the jokes because I can't remember. But you know, really risky stuff. If Channel 4 had actually watched and looked to see what was actually getting broadcast, they would have probably pulled the plug. And the funny thing was, I don't think there was any complaints, because the only people that were watching it were boys, schoolboys, and guys like myself, you know, who were into games, and we were lapping this up. This was fantastic TV. This was our own, you know, this was the very, very first video games TV, something that had never gone before, so we loved it. So we were never going to complain, and adults certainly wouldn't watch it because it was about video games, you know, these silly things that young boys do. So yeah, there's a lot of Mamemeister on YouTube, so just type into YouTube and you can see what the fuss was about. But some of the stuff that Dominic came out with was just utterly fantastic. There was a very infamous, it was a Christmas special on Series 6, and basically they used to have, when they had like challenges, they used to bring out like co-presenters, and there were always guys who worked on Amiga Action, or Jazz Rignall, who obviously used to work on Zap. One of the famous ones was a guy called Dave the Animal Perry. Now anybody that doesn't know Dave Perry, Dave, I don't know where he actually originated from. He was basically, I mean, he was basically self-proclaimed the best video game player in the world. He used to wear this bandana, the Stars and Stripes. Whoop! It just ran out. After it gets to 2 gig, the camera switches off for some reason. Yeah, what was I talking about? Dave Perry. Dave actually came across as a really nice guy, but as the series went on, you could tell there was a bit of tension between him and Dominic Diamond, and this all came to a head on the Christmas special on Series 6. They had Dave Perry, and they had, I think it was another 4 guys. There was a guy, Rick, I can't remember what his name was. He was a video game reviewer, I think he wrote for, I don't know, can't remember. They had 4 guys, and it was a Christmas special. It was a quiz asking various questions. Now Dave Perry absolutely ate, slept, and ate video games. There was what he didn't know about video games wasn't worth knowing. He had an immense knowledge of all things video games. So anyway, Dave was romping this quiz. He was absolutely flying. You know, he was leading big style. And then they came up with a challenge, and the challenge was on Mario 64. There's a level, the ice level, where you basically sit in your arse and you slide down. You've got to try and beat a penguin, I think it is, without falling off. Now they brought this out. The challenge was to get to the bottom in the quickest time. Now Dave Perry, as I say, he's a self-proclaimed world's best video game player, and he was, to be fair, he was a bloody good player. but he had a shot at this game and he failed miserably. He fell off the track after about 20 seconds, and you could tell he was pissed off. So when it came to Dominic Diamond, when it came to the end, Dominic Diamond interviewed, was it Kirk Ewing? He's another Scottish guy. I think him and Dominic are quite good pals at the time. Anyway, Kirk Ewing won it, and when he asked Dave Perry, he says, "What went wrong there? You know, you're the self-proclaimed world's best gamer. How come you're so shite at this?" And Dave Perry basically said he was set up. He says, "I was set up," and he says, "How can you say you're set up?" He says, "You're a professional video game player, and you're telling me you've never played the #1 game on the N64." And what Dave Perry said was, it hadn't been released in the UK. He only plays games when they get an official release in the UK, which I think was probably true. But yeah, so Dave Perry, at the end, the credits rolled, and you could see Dave Perry had his little petted lip. He was genuinely in the huff. And at the time, I remember thinking, what a tosser, you know, a complete tosser. However, I've since in this podcast, the Dominic Diamond podcast, he did actually admit, excuse me, Dominic actually admitted that he's actually quite ashamed of that episode. He says he was set up to fail, and looking back on it, he says that he's embarrassed because he almost felt like it was a form of bullying, and they did, you know, he felt the way they treated Dave Perry at the time was pretty bad, and I think he's never apologized. I don't think he's ever seen Dave Perry since that episode. I think that was Dave Perry you never saw. He never appeared on Series 7. He's since gone on record as saying he was sorry to Dave Perry, that it was wrong the way they treated him. So yeah, that's quite interesting to see that. But that was Games Master, guys. You need to check it out. I mean, I've got all 7 series on my computer. I managed to acquire them off a torrent site many moons ago. They're not the greatest quality, but it's still worth watching. So yeah, that was Games Master. Round about that time, Sky had a program called the Games World. Now I didn't have Sky TV up until fairly recently. Games World, again, it tried to be like a Games Master, but what they did was they had maybe half a dozen professional games players, and they all had their names. They were all dressed up as different characters, and what they used to do is they'd bring out these school kids and they'd pick a game. I think the kid used to spin it. It was like a board or something. Spin this thing, and it would stop in a game. I don't know, just say like Mortal Kombat. They would have to then play Mortal Kombat again. They would spin it around. In fact, I think it was predefined. They would be playing. It would be Mortal Kombat against the Executioner. You know, they had all these ridiculous names, and basically they would bring out this professional games player who would play against this school kid, and they would get absolutely annihilated. I mean, they really. I mean, I've watched a few of them on YouTube just to see what the fuss was about, and it's pretty dire. The professional players just absolutely wiped the floor off all the kids. I mean, the kids were really on a hiding to nothing. I think out of maybe the half a dozen episodes I watched, I don't think I ever saw one of the kids beating the professional players. I mean, these guys they were professional games players, you know, so there was no chance. The kids were never going to beat them. So yeah, that was Sky's sort of video game programme. It's bloody awful, Games World. I remember at the time, I used to, like, you know, you'd see it in the paper thinking, I wish I had Sky, but looking at it now, it was utter pish. So that was really poor. The other one, which was out at the same time as Games Master, was Bad Influence. Bad Influence, I read an article recently by one of the co-presenters of Bad Influence, and one of the questions was, did you see Games Master as a rival to Bad Influence? And their answer was no. They were completely different. They were going at the games thing from a completely different angle. Games Master was all about challenges and sort of adult humour, whereas Bad Influence, they would have reviews. They would show you like the latest computer, you know, latest technology. They would have this there was this little kid in America. He would give a kind of he would do a feature on, you know, games in America and that kind of stuff, import games and that. It was hosted by a guy called Andy Crane, who he made his career on children's TV. This is what I was talking about earlier on. He would appear and he was like the presenter in between programmes on STV. Andy Crane, and then there was a girl called Violet Berlin. Not Violent, Violet Berlin. She was quite a feisty looking little blonde thing, quite nice. She was, I'm trying to think how she started her career. I'm sure she used to appear in, well not appear, she used to write for teletext. Now teletext was this technology that TVs had. It was basically writing, it was just a series of information. It wasn't like the internet, it was like different pages. CFAX, was that the BBC one? I can't remember. Teletext, and basically they had a computer section, and I'm sure Violet Berlin used to write for that. She may also have actually written for some video games magazines. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so it was Andy Crane and Violet Berlin. It wasn't bad. I never really watched it back in the day. I always thought it was pretty tame compared to Games Master. Again, I think I've got most of the series of Bad Influence. It's not bad. It's completely different for Games Master. Games Master was what all the happening kids wanted to watch, whereas, you know, Bad Influence was a safer option. But it was interesting. And again, that was the only time that we had sort of video games TV. Now the funny thing was, it says once Games Master finished, when would it be? Probably maybe 96, something like that. When it finished, there was no more TV programs based on video games for many years. In fact, when I say many years, there's never been any TV programs even now. Now, I can't believe that, you know, video games, they're here to stay. I mean, apparently, and I've read this, apparently this is true, there's the turnover in video games sales is tenfold of Hollywood films. So video games is a far bigger market than the cinema, the movie industry, which is incredible. And why there is no TV programme dedicated to video games, I don't know. I mean, and obviously there are video game programmes that are done online, but why there's not an actual proper programme on sort of mainstream TV is beyond me. I don't know. I mean, anybody that's into video games, they'll be asking the same question. Why haven't we got a TV programme? Why isn't there a TV programme based on video games? It just seems absolutely cuckoo to me. The other one, before I forget, which came on, it was on Sky. I can't remember what the channel was. It was called When Games Attack. Now, this was hosted by, excuse me, Dominic Diamond again, and it was basically more of the same. It was similar to Games Master. In fact, they didn't have challenges or anything. No, I'm talking shite. They had various features. In fact, you know what? It was When Games Attack that had the page 3 models dancing to Dance Dance Revolution. But When Games Attack, it was kind of more of the same. The adult humour was ramped up tenfold. I mean, it's ridiculous what Dominic got away with. They would have, every week, they would have like a football tournament. They would have various famous football players in a sort of knockout competition type thing. So they had that. They had the page 3 girls dancing to Dance Dance Revolution. They used to pit. They would have what was the name of them? There was two puppets, looked like Sooty and Sweep. Again, if you're old enough, you'll remember what I'm talking about. It was little glove puppets, and they would each pick a game. Like one week it would be Halo against, I don't know, Time Splitters, something like that. They would have the PS2 and they'd have the Xbox, and they would do like graphics, gameplay, blast ability, whatever, and whoever got the highest score was the winner, and the puppet that lost would have a forfeit. He would either get put into a blender and diced up into pieces, he would get blown up, he'd get set on fire. It was pretty funny. I can't remember what the Squeaky and something. Can't remember. I'll need to have a look. But yeah, when Games Attack, it was brilliant. I mean, I think there was maybe a dozen episodes. It was only ever one series that was made, but it was really, really good. Really good view. And again, I've got these on. I managed to get these off the internet a few years back. But it was one of these ones that probably a lot of people missed. If they didn't have Sky and maybe weren't aware of it. I mean, it was never advertised as such. I think I don't know, I happened to stumble across it one day and, you know, here it was. Yeah, when Games Attack, have a look for it. But after that, that has been it. There's been no more TV programmes that I'm aware of. I mean, the problem is nowadays with Sky TV, you've got bloody 200 channels. I mean, I don't watch TV. My wife, she's in charge of the remote control. I'm simply not interested in watching TV. There may be some games programmes on TV, I don't know. If there is, then please comment and let me know. I'm certainly not aware of anything. The final video game, I'm not even writing it down, the final video game programme, which is Epic. It was a programme that came out in the early 80s. It came out right at the boom of the arcades in America, and it was called Starcade. Now this was two contestants, and they would compete at 3 games. They would have, in each episode they would feature maybe like, you know, Golf, Space Invaders, Berserk, whatever. They would have 5 arcade games, and then they would have a series of questions, and whoever won that particular question would get to pick the game. And basically what they would do, I always thought it was a completely unfair way of actually doing it. They would each play the 5 games or the 3 games, whatever it was. There'd be 5 games and they'd pick games, so like 3 of them would be played. They would add up all the scores at the end, and whoever had the highest score, would win an arcade game. A proper arcade game, Burger Time, whatever. Really, really good. But what was ridiculous, they would pick, say for example, I mean, the game that I've been playing, Berserk, or Space Invaders, whatever, say Space Invaders. A high score, they would play the game for 30 seconds. Now in Space Invaders, you play that for 30 seconds or a minute, whatever it is, you'd be lucky to get maybe 200-300 points. So, and then say Berserk, I mean, to play Berserk for 45 seconds, you'll maybe get 1,000 points if you're lucky. So just supposing contestant 1 played, he got the 2 high scores for Space Invaders and Berserk. That gives them a grand total of maybe 2,000 points, whatever. The third game might be something like Robotron. Now you could probably score 20,000 in Robotron in 40 seconds. So it basically meant that whoever got the highest score on a game that's got a really high score, you know, like 500,000 as opposed to Space Invaders, which is like 200 points, it meant that somebody who only won one of the 3 games would actually go on to win the overall competition because he had his score was the highest. What they should have done was, you know, 1 point, you've won that game, you get 1 point, you've won that game, you get 1 point, and the deciding one is they get a point, whoever wins the deciding game. But yeah, so the 2 contestants would compete against each other at playing. I think they would pick 3 games out of 5. They would play them for 45 seconds. It's Car Crash TV. I mean, it's again, it's a product of its time. It was early 80s, big, you know, mullets, floppy hair. It's quite funny because the guy that, I can't remember the name of the guy, I have no idea what the name of the guy is. The guy who actually presented the programme, he was quite funny. He used to have this big long microphone thing, and he didn't take the shit out of the contestants, but it was quite funny. He was quite sarcastic sometimes, the comments he would come out with. But it would start, it'd be like, "Welcome to Starcade," and you know, you'd see the 2 guys with their backs playing Space Invaders, and then he would announce it, "Let's go," and then the 3 of them would run. They would actually run. They would run through this bit past all these arcade machines, and they would then have the questions, and whoever got that one right would then get to pick. And the commentator guy would kind of give the guy sort of tips, you know, try and take out this for big points, blah blah blah, and he would do a commentary as the players were kind of taking their turn. It's brilliant. I've got a shitload of these, which I downloaded. I managed to download. There was a fantastic torrent site, Underground Gamer, which it was a fantastic site. It had probably the best archive of old systems. I mean, they had some of the obscure stuff that they used to host. They'd have full sets of games. They would have magazine scans, TV programs, you name it, they had it. And they had a very strict policy on what systems they would host. Anything that was current, I think a system had to be dead for like 5 years before they would host games on it, which I completely agree with. But very sadly, about a year ago, one of these companies, it wasn't the actual publisher, but one of these companies contacted them to say, you've got FIFA 96 on this torrent, and as such, we're going to close you down. So that was it. The site was closed down because they were hosting a FIFA 96 ROM for the bloody Mega Drive or some damn thing. So the whole site went, and with it, the history. I mean, they had thousands and thousands and thousands of terabytes of information for all these real obscure. If you wanted a full set of, I don't know, TRS, was it 80 ROMs, you went to Underground Gamer site, you downloaded it, fantastic. Anyway, I've gone off topic a wee bit, but yeah, I got all the Starcades off there. Again, go into YouTube, guys, and type in Starcade. You'll find these TV programs. If there's any viewers watching this from America who's probably older than 40 years old, you'll probably remember actually watching that. I mean, we never got them in the UK. I'd never heard of them until fairly, maybe, I don't know, 2-3 years ago. In fact, I think they've actually got a website. If you actually Google Starcade, I'm sure there's a website, and they've got. I think they actually have some episodes on there, so you may be able to download them and watch them. Definitely worthwhile watching them. I mean, it's fantastic seeing these spanking. These are brand new games back in the day. You know what I mean? So it's really fascinating. So yeah. So I think this is probably going to run on an hour, and I certainly don't want it to be as long as this, guys. But yeah, that's video games, TV programs, nothing else, blah blah blah. Like, I've got one more here, but you know, this is going long enough. That can be for next week's Friday Waffle. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching. I do appreciate comments. I always try and respond to all comments. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more of these, it'd be fantastic if you'd want to consider subscribing. Have a great weekend, guys, and as usual, thanks for watching.